Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of What's Working Wednesday. We're talking about buyers today. And so we're going to get right to it. And this is review. If you're familiar with the 10-step buyer process we teach in Ninja, we're looking at step 5. And so we're going to get right to that. And so it's about having a process, right? So this is how it sounds. When you're talking with your client, what you want to do is talk about our goal, and that is to find you a great home. And at the same time, make sure we don't miss out on anything or pay too much for it. So that's such a critical conversation because two of the buyer's greatest fears are that they'll miss out on something or that they'll pay too much. And so when you have that dialogue, you address their two greatest fears. A lot of times those fears are internal. They might not have expressed them to you, but when you have this dialogue, nonetheless, you address those fears and they can relax. And then we say, well, we have a process that can help you do that. It's called the funnel process. So would you like to see how it works? It's awesome when that question's asked. Nobody yet has had a client say, no, I don't want to see how it works. I mean, if you say, hey, we want to help you find a great home, make sure you don't miss out on anything or pay too much for it. I have a process to help us do that. It's called the funnel process. Would you like to see how it works? People are absolutely, show me. Some probably inside are thinking, thank goodness, a realtor with a process, right? So that's how it looks. And so it's review. You have it in your workbooks. Also, if you have the Ninja book that Larry Kindle wrote, it's in the appendix, the full 10-step buyer process. So basically, you can actually draw a funnel, or I'll show you a presentation sheet you can use. But it's very visual, and you kind of talk about what we're going to do. So basically, think of a funnel. It's called the funnel process, and all homes in our marketplace are going to go into it. So this is a great time to stop and ask the buyer, have you looked at any homes already? Often they have. By the time you've met them, they might have looked at a few. Maybe they've gone to some open houses. It's important to find out what those are and write those down. Those are going to go in the funnel. Also ask them, what is it that you liked most about the home? What caught your attention? And then listen very carefully, because what they say will be the main factors that they're using in finding, the home that works for them. So you get a lot of great information. So what attracted you to those homes? So you start by, what homes have you seen? Then you can tell them about your local MLS. Some of you will set up searches so they'll automatically receive things, again, to make sure, everything goes into the funnel, right? So again, we want to make sure they know we don't miss anything. So talk about how your MLS works. You're going to start with a search of everything, and based on filters that they create and their preferences, we're going to put everything in the funnel. We'll start weeding it out to come up with their favorites. So tell them about, how your MLS works. Then there's, new properties, new construction. And so maybe your client hasn't mentioned they're interested in new construction, but one of the things you might at this point where you're getting started is say, I think you should consider it, and we can weed it out later. We can filter it out later, but consider new construction. One of the reasons to kind of talk about new construction right now is most marketplaces have builders who require you to register your buyers. If you don't talk about new construction, at some point during the search, the buyer's probably going to say, hey, let's drive in and check out that model home. And if you haven't had a chance to tell them about the process, that we're including all of those, they may create a relationship with the builder that takes away your ability to represent them. And so I think new construction, let's talk about it right now. Let's put it in. How about for sale by owners? It's telling your client, hey, there's some for sale by owners that come on the market from time to time. I want to make sure you don't miss anything. You need to feel that, it's okay to include those. And you can also share some personal experience. You might say, I've never met a for sale by owner that hasn't worked with me. I think it's also important to say that, however, if you chose to work by yourself on your own, that's okay with me. Now, sometimes people say, why would you say that? Well, when you say that, the internal dialogue for the buyer is they don't want to be by themselves on their own, right? But they love the transparency and that you have that conversation. But talk about how for sale by owners work. So if they see one, they'll call you and let you make the appointment and set things up, right? What else goes in the funnel? In some markets, we have bank-owned properties, not a lot right now. So again, the idea is that everything goes in the funnel so that we don't miss out anything. Well, then through a process of elimination, right? Everything goes in, not a process of selection. We'll talk a little bit more about the difference, but it's a process of elimination. Based on their filters you apply, based on their preferences, you're going to start coming up with properties that would work for them. And as we look for homes, you can share with them, we're going to keep a rolling top 3. Now, right now, inventory is really low. You're lucky to find 3 that would work. But still, we're gonna keep track of your favorites, your favorite 2 or 3. And it's important to do this because if you are in a market where you can show more than 3 homes, having them keep the top 3 helps them keep track of where they are, what their favorites. It keeps them from getting confused. I mean, let's face it, all of our brains, if we have more than 5 decisions, it gets a little crazy and we start to get confused. So this simplifies the process. They can always keep track of their top 3. When you show a new home they haven't seen yet, once you've come out of the home, you might ask, how does this rate with your current top 3 list? Does it bump one of the homes out, right? And so it's something you're going to keep as we go through the process. The other thing that you'll share with them is when we have their favorites, you're going to do a CMA on their favorites. Why? To make sure they don't pay too much. So just the simple concept of showing the funnel is really, really important, and it addresses those fears and it shows that you have a process. And so one of the keys then when you're going through this is again, it's a process of elimination versus selection. If you don't have a process, many realtors work through a process of selection, meaning their buyer selects a few homes they want to see. Agents might give them a bunch of printouts from the MLS and they drive around and then they tell their agent, I want to see these 3. And then they go home and you don't hear from them for a few days. Well, then they find 3 more and they call again. I want to see these 3 or these 2, and they keep working through a process of selection. Can that be successful? Sure, but it takes a lot more time. So when the buyer sees that you have a process of elimination so they don't miss anything, it moves forward a lot better. When you use the process of selection, they're always worried about what they haven't seen or what they may be missing. So it's a great process of elimination to use, and it creates peace of mind with your buyers. So they don't miss anything and they don't pay too much. All right. So those are the key points as you're talking through this. Many will actually draw it and be visual. And so that's a great way to do it. Practice it. When you draw something on paper, your client leans in, they're really interested. It makes it really, really great. So keep that in mind. We have a presentation sheet. I had Carrie in our office make one. It matches all the other Ninja sheets. So if you don't feel comfortable drawing it, you can actually use this flyer and kind of talk them through again. So that, it simply says finding the right home can be a daunting process, but with the help of your broker, you can ensure you don't miss anything or pay too much, right? And so you can use this flyer to walk them through. We're going to start with all available inventory. We talked about that earlier. Then based on their filters, their preferences, we're going to customize search results for them, come up with their rolling top 3. You'll do a CMA to make sure they don't pay too much. And it's a great sheet to use. It's in our Dropbox. You can grab it. You can put it into your Touch CMA. So it's a great way to stay on track and to keep your buyer moving forward. So again, that's just a quick review of the funnel process, again, that addresses the buyer's 2 greatest fears. And it works really, really well. So try it out next time you get working with your buyers. So that's what we have for you today. And so enjoy the rest of your day. We'll get this recorded for you. And thanks for tuning in.